What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you my second 2024 NHL mock draft. If you somehow missed it, the San Jose Sharks won the first overall pick and the right to draft Macklin Celebrini. I guess it was kind of destined to be, as I actually saw a tweet saying that they won the first 3 lotteries. As basically after one team was the first overall pick, they still have combos that could win the second pick. I didn't realize this though, as it's never happened before. And the Sharks not only won the second lottery, they also won the third lottery too. So like I said, I think it was destined to be. Of course, the Blackhawks ended up winning the second lottery on the 4th try. Kind of funny too, guys. I actually ran the simulator on Tankathon one time, like an hour before the draft, and for me, nothing changed. So I ended up predicting that correctly. And as I was mentioning before, guys, San Jose Sharks, no questions about it. They're going to be taking Macklin Celebrini with the first overall pick. And like I was saying, I think it was kind of destined to be. You can see every single scout has them as unanimous first overall pick. And what's so cool about this, guys, is Celebrini actually played for the San Jose Junior Sharks 4 years ago when he was living in that area, as his dad actually works for the Golden State Warriors. So pretty cool to see it coming full circle. Obviously, Celebrini, an absolute stud of a prospect. The youngest player to ever win the Hobie Baker Award at 17 years old. He doesn't turn 18 until this June, actually, like, what, a couple weeks before the draft there. So pretty cool to see. Boston University, 64 points. World Juniors for Canada, hit 8 points, 5 games. Was probably our best player as a 17-year-old. Again, you can see USHL at 86 points. Pretty sure he was setting records there as well for a 16-year-old. So the dude's an absolute beast. No reason to, like, dwell on this one anymore. The Sharks get their guy, and I think, they're the team that, definitely needed him the most. And real quick, guys, I want to give a shout out to Betano. If you're located in Ontario, Canada, you need to give them a try. They're a premier online betting site that offers a wide array of sports to bet on, including hockey, football, basketball, baseball, MMA, boxing, and many others. I personally love playing on Betano because they have the most parlay options of any book I've seen. They allow you to create same-game parlays with player props, run lines from multiple sports, and add alternate game props to any parlay. They also offer early payout features on every major sport. Betano also has a robust online casino offering live table action on all major table games, including blackjack, roulette, craps, and more. If you're like me, you'll love their bonus buy feature, which allows you to immediately buy bonus rounds on a variety of different slot games. The sign-up process is super quick and easy. They offer fast withdrawals, easy and quick deposit methods, and sharper lines compared to most other books in Ontario. So if you're looking at Ontario and haven't tried out Betano yet, click the link in the description box below and give them a try. Now, guys, let's get back to the video. And number 2 here, guys. Definitely, I think this is where the draft opens up. I've seen people say there's unanimous 3, but then other people don't agree on that 3. So I think this is like the first year in a while where we really don't know who's going to go number 2. I've got the Blackhawks taking Artyom Levshunov. I feel like they definitely need defense. They got Korchinski, they got Vlasic. That's about all they got. Levshunov, the best defensive prospect in this draft class. Playing for Michigan State from Belarus, I feel like he's got it all. At 6'2", 209 pounds, he has the size. He's also got the offensive skill. Putting up almost a point per game this year, playing for Michigan State. The year before, he played in USHL at 42 and 62 as a 16-year-old. If you look at his rankings here, anywhere from like 3 to 7. Number 2, though, for Central Scouting for NA skaters. Actually, there's another number 2 scouting report as well. So again, I think he's probably the unanimous number 2 pick, but it really could go a bunch of different ways with these teams. Now, next year, guys, number 3. This one's kind of tough. I got the Ducks taking Anton Silayev. Now, the reason for this pick is I feel like the Ducks already have their young forward core set in Trevor Zegras, assuming they don't trade him, Mason McTavish, Leo Carlson. You could throw Troy Terry in there. Of course, they just traded for Cutter Gauthier. I think on defense, they got some really good, young offensive defensemen in Minchikov as well as Zellweger. I think Silayev, though, gives them a bit of a different feel with, being 6'7" there. He's also got a bit of an offensive game, but definitely, should be better defensively, more physical than both Zellweger and Minchikov. I think if they get him in goal, you got probably Dostal for the future. That's a pretty solid, young core to compete in that Pacific Division. A little quote here says, will limit himself to use backwards mobility and reach. He'll aggressively close down on his opponent and finish him along the boards. Like I said, definitely gives them more of a physical guy than they currently have at that age group. Playing in the KHL this year, which is pretty impressive, playing against men. 11 points in 3 games. Was a -9. But again, as a 17-year-old, like he just turned 18 less than a month ago, I think that's pretty good numbers for being in the KHL. And like I said, I think he really just fits with the Ducks. And now next year, guys, at number 4, the Columbus Blue Jackets taking arguably the second best player in the draft, but I feel like he might drop due to the Russian factor, also being a forward, and that is Ivan Demidov. Obviously, the Columbus Blue Jackets aren't afraid at all to pick a Russian forward. I think they literally had a line of Russians this year in Chinikov, Voronkov, and Marchenko, so they can add Demidov to that mix. You look at him here, not bad size, 5'11". A lot of people have him at number 2, but like I said, with him being Russian, last year we all thought, Michkov was the second best player in the draft. He drops all the way to 7. I don't think Michkov will drop as much. We'll have to wait and see, but I do think he might drop a bit there behind the 2 defensemen. Very good offensive player, probably the best scorer in this draft. It's between him and Cole Yzerman. This year in the MHL, you can see he put up 60 points in 30 games, averaged 2 points a game. I think he might have set a few records there as well, if I remember right, on Twitter. Playoffs, 20 and 17. Again, I think this guy is very, very good. Just the Russian factor, I do think, might make him drop a bit as well, too. Chicago and Anaheim definitely, I think, need defense more. Chicago probably needs everything still, but probably defensively more than offense. So I think Columbus would be very, very happy to walk to the podium and take Demidov here at 4. And now moving on here, guys, number 5, we got the Montreal Canadiens taking Caden Lindstrom. I feel like Montreal fans should be very happy. They finally get that big power forward signer they've been looking for. Lindstrom here, 6'4", 216 pounds. His rankings there, anywhere from like 3 to I think as low as 14. This one might be a bit old though, because he did, move up the draft boards quite a bit this season. Unfortunately for him, he had a bit of an injured riddle season. Only played 32 games, so he put up 46 points. Only 2 points as well in the playoffs. Under 17 team, he had 4.6 games. Again, I think he's the exact kind of player Montreal's been looking for. Could be the 2C behind Suzuki. Could even end up being the 1C, depending how he develops, if he reaches his max potential. So, Canadiens fans, I think, like I said, this is the guy you've been looking for all these years. Don't mess it up. And next year, guys, at number 6, we have the Arizona Coyotes, or should I say, the Utah Yeti. No idea if that'll actually be their name, but I've seen it getting a lot of, buzz online. I've got them taking Zeev Buium. He's another guy that's really shot up the draft rankings this season. Obviously, just won a natty with Denver, so I think that's pretty cool. Arizona definitely needs defense. A lot of good young players coming up. Gunther, Josh Doan. They even got Boot there. I know they did draft, Simashev last year, but Soderstrom's really not looking like a guy, so I think they need defense. Buium probably could be their answer for me. There's a few guys that could go here. You got Dickinson, you got Perek. Definitely a lot more, good defensemen in the top 10 of this year's draft than last year. And most people are saying Buium's kind of the best of the bunch, so I'm going to trust the experts on this one. You guys can see here, playing for Denver, 50 points, 42 games. Under 20s, he had 5 and 7. Decent size there at 6 feet. Nothing crazy, but, good skater, does it all. So I think Arizona, or should I say Utah, is going to get a really good player at this spot. And now next year, guys, I just mentioned his name. At number 7, I got the Ottawa Senators taking Sam Dickinson, playing for the London Knights in the OHL. Again, any of these defensemen, it's a toss-up for me. Dickinson's definitely got more size to him, 6'3", 194 pounds. When you watch him in the OHL, he uses the size, a good amount. He's playing 16-year-olds. You can see his scouting rankings there. I guess I forgot to actually show Buium. Let me just show you guys quick. Kind of all over the place. And then you look at Dickinson here. He's anywhere from as high as 4 to as low as 8. So, he's definitely got like a smaller array there, but it's going to be anyone's guess, where he's going to go. Playing for London this year, over a point per game. Very impressive. Mostly assists, but again, solid, offensive side to his game for having that size he does. Solid defensively. Playoffs this year, he's got 7 and 14. Again, plus 56. London was just such a dominant team. I'm not sure if we can attribute all that to him. Gonna try and not be biased here as a Spitfire fan. Dickinson, definitely a solid defenseman. Could go above Buium. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go to Utah. And in regards to Ottawa taking him, there's been a lot of trade rumors around Chychrun, so if they lose him, you're left with Chabot and Sanderson, but not much else. So I feel like, Dickinson could kind of fill Chychrun's hole. Hopefully they can get, a good young player back or something to try and help build that core and actually, make the playoffs here. And now number 8 here, guys, I got the Seattle Kraken taking Zane Perek. I think I had them taking him the last draft as well. I feel like they could use a lot more offense from their back end. I know Vince Dunn, has been solid, but Perek had 96 points in 66 games playing the OHL as a defenseman. Absolutely unreal. I believe he set the record for defensive scoring for Saginaw. The OHL record, not sure who it is, but somebody's got over 100. Hit 11 points in 13 playoff games. I've actually been able to watch him play quite a bit, just like Dickinson. Definitely a lot more offensive. I think I watched him score a hat trick on the Spits. Not quite as big, though, but he still is 6 feet. So not like an undersized defenseman, anything like that. Again, you look at his rankings. Quite, a bit of an array there. Anywhere from as high as 3 by Craig Button to as low as 17 Ferrari. I'm not sure if I said that name right. So, again, I think Seattle's going to kind of want the offense more. I think Ottawa might like that size that Dickinson has. Utah, I think, looking for the best guy, which a lot of people think Buium is. So, again, regardless of those 3 defensemen, I think they're all pretty interchangeable, but that's just my best guess. And now next year, guys, we're moving on to the Calgary Flames at 9. Talking about a match made in heaven. They run up to the podium and take TJ Ginla. They probably get Jerome to make the pick. I feel like he's going to go in around this, 9 to 13 spot. I don't think the Flames pass him. He's available. I think it's just, too perfect of a fit. You look at his rankings, like I said, anywhere, it looks like from 6 to 23 on Sportsnet, but 31 as well. Again, these could be older. He's, gone up the rankings quite a bit this year. So, yeah, most people don't have him in the early teens. Again, just a very good offensive player. Had 47 goals this year playing for Kelowna. Almost 50. Playoff-wise, 15 and 11. 9 goals, 6 assists. In terms of size, he's 6 feet, 185 pounds. Probably still growing. Look at Jerome Ginla. There's no reason why he couldn't get a little bit bigger like his dad. Again, I think the Flames, Ginla's available. I don't think they overthink it. I think they'll take the son of a former legend. Now, next year, guys, at number 10, we got the Devils. And I think they get an absolute steal here, taking Cole Yzerman. Originally, like, start of the year, he was supposed to be number 2, maybe number 3. It was like him and Demidov. Dropping all the way to 10 here is pretty crazy. I've seen some people say he'll go outside the top 10. I don't see it happening. I think even at 10, the Devils are getting an absolute steal, especially, too, he's arguably the best goal scorer in this draft. It's between him and Demidov. You look down at his stats here. Playing on the national team development program, he had over a goal a game. Not a point a game, over a goal a game, 58 and 57. It is playing against, 17-year-olds as well, but that's incredible. I believe he beat Cole Caulfield's record for, like, most goals in his season or most goals of, like, the career, so pretty crazy. And even playing for the junior team, you can see, again, he averaged a goal a game, 25 and 24. Didn't have nearly as many assists there at 9, but still, like, a goal a game, goals win you games. All the rankings I'm seeing that have him outside the top 10, I don't think you're understanding that. Like, a guy that can give you a goal a game. Look at Austin Matthews. How valuable is that? Even at the under-18 Worlds this year, he had 9 goals in 7 games, only 1 assist. But, again, the dude's over a goal a game. Absolutely incredible. He is going to Boston University, at least for 1 year, but could, make the jump to the NHL. If the Devils are in a playoff spot, he could join their team in the playoffs next spring, similar to, like, what we've seen other college players do. Speaking of the Devils, I think Yzerman's the perfect fit. A great sniper. You play him with Jack Hughes, an awesome playmaker. Jesper Pratt's a solid playmaker. Nico Hischier, I think, he's going to be that scorer that the Devils have been looking for. They thought it might be Holtz. Doesn't look like that's the case. I think it definitely could be Yzerman. And again, you look at his rankings, kind of all over the board. Anywhere here from 4 by Bob McKenzie all the way down to 16 by Dauber Prospect. So I think at 10, the Devils are honestly going to be running up there to take him. And again, at number 11 here with the Buffalo Sabres, I think getting another steal. It just tells you there's a lot of good players around the top 10 of this draft. They take Berkeley Catton. He's the guy who could go as high as number 5. Just a very solid player all around. Good two-way game, plays PK, plays power play. Good skater, a lot of speed. Not that small, he's 5'11", not like a Zach Benson type, but, back-to-back years, Buffalo do get steals. You look at his rankings, anywhere from number 3 all the way down to, I think the lowest I see is number 15 by Craig Button. So, again, definitely could be off the board at this point. If he's not, Buffalo's laughing. 116 points, 68 games this year in the WHL. It was a point per game in the playoffs. Unfortunately, they were swept there in round 1. Again, a guy that can just do it all for you. Has speed, offensive talent, defensive ability, size. You might like a little bit more, but I think for Buffalo, just add another really high-end forward to that core. Hopefully for their fans' sake, they eventually make the playoffs here and break that 13-year drought. And now next up here, guys, number 12, we have the Philadelphia Flyers taking Konsta Helenius. I think for them, they're taking best player available, and that's Helenius. Very solid playmaking winger. Can also play center, but at the NHL level, probably be a winger. Looking at his rankings, anywhere from as high as 3 by Recruit Scouting. Kind of crazy. I haven't seen him that high on anybody else's board. All the way down to 19 there. So for me, I think a potential future duo of Helenius on the right wing, Michkov on the left wing, or, flip it around, the playmaker, the sniper, could be awesome for them. In terms of who's going to be playing in the middle, I don't know, maybe they suck next year, get James Higgins, we'll see. But, again, solid playmaker. At the under 20s this year, he had 11 points, 13 games, 8 assists. He was actually on loan here to Jerkerit, and 36 points, 51 games. And you gotta remember, too, that's playing against men as a 17-year-old. Even though the talent level isn't as high as the NHL, maybe not even the AHL, still very, very impressive numbers. Point per game in the playoffs. I think the Flyers, honestly, are going to be very, very happy with that pick. Now, moving on to 13 here, guys, with Minnesota Wild taking Yakimichuk. I think they definitely need defense, somebody who could play with, Brock Faber in the future. Already have a pretty solid, young offensive core with Boldy, Kaprizov, Eric Sinek, Marco Rossi. I think, they got those guys. They need some defense. Yakimichuk here gives you size at 6'3", and he can definitely play both sides of the ice. This year, at over a point per game in the WHL as a defenseman. Also not afraid to mix it up. 120 penalty minutes and 66 games. He's averaging about a penalty a game. So, this guy can probably, do it all for Minnesota. Play that gritty type, get in your face, put up points. He's got the size. Again, I think, this could be the perfect player for the Wild. You look at the rankings, anywhere from 11 by Craig Button all the way down to 24 by Dauber Prospect. So, I think, 13 should be a good spot for him. Now, number 14, San Jose Sharks. This one was kind of tough for me. Like, do they take best player available? Do they try and get a defenseman after getting Celebrini? I personally think they probably go for a defenseman. I looked at, their defensive prospects. It's honestly a barren wasteland. They got nobody. I think they walk up there and take Adam Jaracek. Of course, the younger brother, David Jaracek. Unfortunately for him, he got injured this season. As you can see, only played 19 games, had 1 assist. This is, of course, playing in the Men's Czech League, though. And again, only 19 games played. I think that's why he kind of fell down the draft boards a bit. Still, not a terrible spot. Again, you can see his rankings mostly in the teens, some in the 20s. I think at this point, he's the best defenseman still available. The Sharks really need defense. Obviously, they're not passing on Celebrini, the unanimous #1 pick. But at number 14, I think they do lean defense opposed to offense. Now, number 15 here, guys. Definitely a homer pick by me. I got the Red Wings taking Liam Greentree. He plays for the Spitfires, my favorite OHL team. My favorite NHL team is the Red Wings. I'm hoping they take him. I think it'd be really cool. He was actually the captain for the Spitfires as a 17-year-old. One thing I should point out about him, though, he's actually got a really early birthday, like New Year's Day there, 2006. You compare him to, say, Tijja Ginla, literally 8 months older. Tijja Ginla here was born August 1st. So him being a bit older, I think, does give him an advantage, but still, 16-year-old last season had, close to a point per game. He got injured later in the year. This season, 17-year-old season, 90 points, 64 games on honestly, like, pretty terrible Spits team. So was quite impressive. Became our captain. Just such a good goal scorer. Definitely can, like, shoot the puck from anywhere. Has the size, too. He's 6'2". Gonna keep growing. He's got some pretty good speed as well. Like, I think he could be a very, very good player in the NHL in the future. So I'm hoping the Red Wings take him. Rankings-wise, he's supposed to go around that 15 spot. So, like I said, bit of a homer pick by me. But I got my fingers crossed he fits into the Irishman plan. Obviously, Detroit's like 15 minutes away from Windsor, so I'm sure they've done a bunch of scouting on him. And finally here, guys, number 16, I got St. Louis Blues taking Brandstad Nygaard. To me, he's probably the best player available at this spot. St. Louis Blues could also maybe go like Beckett Sinek, who's had a really good playoff for the Oshawa Generals, but I think Brandstad Nygaard just kind of fits with them better. A very solid two-way player, so, if they are trying to get back in the playoffs here soon, could potentially make the NHL a bit sooner, playing in that bottom 6 role opposed to having to be a top 6 player. Was playing the second Swedish league there for Mora, 18 points in 41 games. His scouting rankings there as well, kind of anywhere from 11 by Dobber Prospects all the way down to 29 by Craig Button. So, again, I think, split the difference. Him going, somewhere like 16 makes sense. Also, to the fact that, he was playing in the Swedish League. I saw last year, St. Louis Blues had 3 first-round picks. All 3 players came from Swedish League. So, I feel like they definitely have a lot of scouts out there. They've probably seen a lot of Brandstad Nygaard's game. And because of that, I think that's who they're going to take at number 16. And that is it, guys, for the second edition of my 2024 NHL mock draft. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave that thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the sub button down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.